What's up and welcome to another episode of Sword and Spell Gaming, and this is a brand new series called The Couple That Games Together. I'm Sigvard,
I'm Surelda.
and we are basically a couple that plays WoW together. We have been for how many years now?
Like 8 years or so. Like, pretty much the middle of vanilla.
For a very long time. It's something that we enjoy doing together, so we're going to make an entire video series of us basically just leveling characters from scratch, and I'm going to be a tank, and Surelda will be a healer.
Yep.
And yeah, we're basically just going to be leveling up, and we want to share the experience with you guys. You ready to begin?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to get the first newbie quests here. And now we got to kill mana worms. You ready?
Yep.
I'm just going to put a raid marker on myself real quick.
Okay.
Make it easier. So, Surelda, tell us about your first MMO and how you got into playing MMOs.
Well, you're the one who's first playing. And
I'm the culprit.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, you just showed it to me and it looked interesting to me, and I don't know, I just started playing.
What was it about, I guess World of Warcraft, or I guess just MMOs in general, that kind of drew you in and made you start playing? Because you never really were that much of a gamer before you got into MMOs, right?
Nah, I mean, I would play The Sims, and sometimes I'd play, like, I don't know, like Doom or something like that on the computer. And, you know, console games, but, I don't know, probably just the way the characters looked, and just, like, the whole, you know, just how the game looked, and, you know, like, a fantasy world, and, I don't know, it just seemed interesting to me.
Yeah, and I, just from, you know, what I observe, I think that you really enjoyed the whole character customization aspect of the games, too.
Yes, I did. That's one of the reasons why I liked playing The Sims. So it's kind of like that tied in with, I don't know, playing with other people and questing, and I don't know.
So you're into The Sims as your kind of game of choice before MMOs, right?
Yes.
Alright, now we gotta get these Lynx collars. And in case you're wondering or watching this, how I got my start into MMOs was basically, I played the original EverQuest, and that game was basically, in my opinion, it's still the best MMO of all time, even though I know that, you know, some other advancements are made. They all started with EverQuest, in my opinion. And there's just a lot of nostalgia there. I remember just staying up all night for hours, leveling and grinding. It was a very grindy game, but I enjoyed that. So yeah, that's where I got my start. And then I was told that there's a new Warcraft game coming out, and I thought, okay, sweet, another Warcraft game. I thought it was just the RTS, because that's how I knew about Warcraft, because I played Warcraft 3. And then the person was like, no, it's actually an MMO like EverQuest, and that's how I kind of got into World of Warcraft. And it's funny, because at first I didn't like World of Warcraft because I thought the graphics were too cartoony. Then they eventually grew on me. So what classes do you like playing in the game, Surelda?
Priest, Hunter, Mage. I've been kind of getting into playing Warlocks too. But my main classes that I like a lot are probably Priest and Hunter.
Nice. In case you're wondering what that sound is, it's a very, very noisy chair. It's like super noisy for some reason. Are you getting these colors?
Yes.
Okay. In case you kind of hear like a droning vacuum sound in the background, that is Surelda's machine. I think it's dying a slow and horrible death. My goal is to build her a new one for her birthday, if we can save up enough money. I want to build her a brand new gaming computer that's quiet. And you'll probably hear a lot of this in the upcoming videos, the jangling sound. That is our ferocious guard dog. His name is Cody. He's a very ferocious... Why don't you tell him what type of guard dog he is?
Well, he's a miniature dachshund, a long-haired miniature dachshund, and he weighs about 8 or 9 pounds.
Yeah, he's very intimidating.
He's very, very, very cute.
No, he's ferocious, not cute. Don't.
He's cute.
I know 9 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's coming at you and it's like growling and snarling and it's flying at your face, it's a lot. It's the velocity. It's all about the velocity. Alright, let's turn in this quest. I can't wait till we can start doing some dungeons on these tunes.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
And we actually decided to level these tunes on a PvP server. We basically come from an RP server, which I know that a lot of people are gonna flame for that. But that's actually like kind of why we're here, because we're actually tired of the RP server. Because we never RP, do we?
No, never.
There's like, I don't know, in the RP crowd, you can't... The whole thing that drew me to RP was when I was in EverQuest. I did a little bit of RP, and it was more creative. Like, you could pretty much create your own story. It didn't matter. It really didn't matter if it pertained to the lore, but on RP servers in WoW, like, people are very elitist. And a lot of it has to do with the fact there's so much lore in World of Warcraft. And, you have to pretty much adhere to that, otherwise you're going to be ousted, I guess. Not ousted. People just want to take it seriously, which is fine, I understand. But I'm more of the type of person who I just want to be completely creative and kind of, I don't know, just make up my own thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, I just don't like being too confined by the lore, if that makes sense. So that's why I don't really RP in WoW. And I just enjoy, I don't know. I would say we're basically just like, we do PvP for the most part, right?
Yeah, we mainly PvP on the server, so I mean, we're not even, enjoying the aspect of role-playing on that server. We're just in battlegrounds and arenas.
Right. And believe it or not, there actually was a pretty decent PvP crowd back in Cataclysm on that server.
Yeah, I know.
But they just vanished.
Crazy.
What would you say is your, I guess your most favorite expansion out of them all?
Well, everyone always says this, but probably Burning Crusade. I don't know, I just really enjoyed the whole aspect of, how the dungeons were set up, and, heroics are actually a lot harder than the heroics that we have now, and, you had to get attuned and everything, and I don't know, I just enjoyed it a lot more. It seemed like when you worked for something, it was actually like you actually had to work towards it, and I don't know, and now it just seems like everything's just handed to you.
Yeah. One thing I actually miss, believe it or not, are the old talent trees.
I know, that was awesome.
I just loved being able to have those like off-the-wall builds that weren't supposed to work, but they somehow did. And now it's like you can't do that.
I know.
Even though that was like frowned upon. John, I understand the reasoning behind the whole rework of the talent system is because there was that one build that pretty much everybody had to have in order to be, I guess, competitive on their character. But that also takes away the room for creativity and choice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know.
And also, a lot of it has to do with nostalgia, too. Like, I actually feel nostalgic when I look at the old talent tree system.
I know.
I think we gotta get one more arcane silver. Or I do, at least.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Alright. Now let's go get the little items. Personally, I think that my favorite expansion would probably be Wrath of the Lich King. Either vanilla, even though the vanilla wasn't even an expansion, but Vanilla WoW or Wrath of the Lich King were my two favorites.
I did enjoy vanilla. I mean, I wasn't one of those people that were raiding and doing all the end content and stuff, but I don't know, it just seemed like I had better experiences with people in vanilla and Burning Crusade, in my opinion. And that's why I enjoyed those eras, you know, the most out of all of the other expansions, or, you know, I don't know, I just had better experiences during those times.
I don't know, my favorite, I mean, I think that there's a core group of nice players, and, you know, when I say good players, I don't mean, like, people who are actually good at the game. I mean, that's a plus, but I mean people who are actually, like, cool people to actually hang out with in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lack of that now. Because I know when World of Warcraft first came out, a lot of people were coming over from EverQuest, which I believe EverQuest had at least from my experience, had a really awesome community. People were very helpful, very nice, very kind, and a lot of those folks came over from from EverQuest to Vanilla WoW. Now that player base has kind of gone away, and now it seems like a lot more like the younger, I don't know, kind of like Halo, Xbox generation.
Yep.
Not that there's anything wrong with those games, but, you know, just basically, like, I don't know, more immature players, which is fine. I mean, that's just the way it works and everything, but that's kind of the shift that I've seen. I know it's gonna make me sound like an old dude, but I forgot where I was going with that. That doesn't help the case of me being old anymore. All right. I'm gonna get off my that was a huge, like, soapbox speech. Back in my day, people would actually help you.
No, but I remember some really good times. Like, I remember I was leveling my priest, or I was leveling a priest, not my current priest, that's my main, but I was leveling a priest during Vanilla WoW. It was like in the middle of Vanilla. And I remember I was just questing, like, you never come across this anymore, but I was questing, and I was still fairly new to the game, and, I don't know, and I was just in, Ashenvale, and this is back when, you know, you didn't have mounts or anything at level 20 or so. You know, I had to run everywhere and whatever. Anyways, and this level 40 something came by, and they just saw that, you know, I was questing, and they asked me if I needed any help, and, you know, I asked them, where to get something for a quest, and they invited me to a group, and they were just helping me for a few hours, and I just thought that was, you know, pretty awesome of them, and you don't really come across that anymore in game.
Yeah, it's more like, I don't know. I think a lot of people just are more... It's funny for a while being such, you know, an MMO where you're supposed to be like social and interactive with people. There are so many anti-social people in the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's so many people who just want to keep to themselves and don't want to help anybody and just want, you know, just to be everyone. It's like every man for himself. It's like, this is a social game. You're supposed to be interacting with people and everything.
Well, it's kind of funny because in real life, I'm really withdrawn and really, shy, and I don't talk very much. But in World of Warcraft, it's like I'm always like talking, and I'm a lot more outgoing in game than I am in real life, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, in fact, I don't know if this is true with you, but over the years that I've been playing MMOs, it has actually helped me a lot, because like, I was that quiet kid in class, that awkward kid in class. It probably didn't help that I would dress in all black, because I'm a metalhead and everything, and
Yeah.
always wear band shirts. But I was always that withdrawn, quiet kid, and I think that actually playing MMOs and being in that social environment has actually helped a lot with that. Developing the social skills and basically kind of breaking out of your shell. And also, obviously, playing MMOs forces you to learn how to communicate effectively. If you're a type of person who's like I was saying, like quiet and withdrawn, like it teaches you how to communicate effectively. I think that's one positive aspect of these games that a lot of people don't take into account. They just say, oh, it's a waste of time and you'll never get anywhere. It's like maybe someday if we ever have kids, and and if they're like the quiet type of kid, depending on what games are at that time, maybe we'll have them play a MMO. They'll basically kind of put them in an environment where they're able to, kind of be more social, I guess, if that makes sense. And it's also helped my typing skills too.
Yeah.
So I've been playing these games since I was really, really young. I was playing EverQuest in 1999, and I think at the time I was in like 6th grade or something.
Wow.
And I had to type a lot in that game, so it actually helped me develop my typing skills quite a bit. There's just a lot of like side benefits you get from PC gaming in general, but also MMOs as well. Alright, let's kill these things. Feral Tinder. Oh, okay, let's go turn this in. What spec are you going to go when you're healing? Holy or discipline?
Sometimes I do discipline. I know on my main spec is discipline for healing, but I'll probably go holy just because I find it a little bit easier at lower levels. I don't know, in lower level dungeons. So I think that's what I'm going to do.
Very nice. Well, on that note, guys, I think we're going to wrap up this video here. And then the next episode will be us continuing leveling these tunes. And hopefully we'll eventually get to doing some dungeons together, too. Thanks for watching. Again, this is Sigvard.
And I'm Surelda.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.